All right, everyone, get ready because today we're going deep, and I mean deep, into the 2025 Trinidad and Tobago budget.
That's right. We're going to break this down so you don't have to.
No more wading through jargon and endless numbers. Consider this your all access pass to really understanding what this budget means for you, for your wallet, for your future.
We're talking real implications, not just the talking points.
Okay, so the heart of this budget, at least according to the powers that be, is steadfast and resolute, forging pathways to prosperity. Catchy, right?
Catchy, sure, but also a pretty bold statement considering, the state of things globally.
It does feel like we're navigating some pretty rough waters out there.
It's not just rough waters, it's geopolitical tensions, economic slowdowns.
Mm.
These aren't just headlines. They have real-world impacts.
Right, like remember those shipping nightmares a while back?
Oh, tell me about it.
The Panama Canal drought, the Red Sea shipping route, attacks pure chaos. Global supply chains were sent into a tailspin.
And we felt the effects right here at home.
Big time. Empty shelves, price hikes, the whole 9 yards. So with all that as a backdrop, let's talk about our own backyard. How's the domestic economy holding up?
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest.
Oh, that doesn't sound promising.
Don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. We did see overall economic growth in 2023 and 2024, always a good sign.
Okay, that's a sigh of relief. So where's the but coming in?
The but is the energy sector.
Ah, energy, our old friend.
Yeah, well, our old friend actually contracted in 2023.
Wow, that's huge considering how much our economy traditionally relies on oil and gas. So
Yeah.
what kept us afloat?
Well, while energy took a dip, the non-energy sector decided to throw a party.
Now you're speaking my language. Tell me more.
Accommodation and food services, they bounced back in a big way. It seems like everyone was ready to ditch the takeout menus and enjoy a nice meal out.
Can confirm I was one of them.
And tourism, local tourism specifically, got a nice boost too.
Makes sense. After being cooped up for so long, people were ready to explore again.
Exactly. And this upward trend in the non-energy sector, it's expected to continue into 2024, which is a good sign.
Okay, so there's some light at the end of the tunnel. But what about the elephant in the room, government finances?
Right, well, the 2025 budget, it projects an increased fiscal deficit for 2024.
Deficit, never a fun word. But before we spiral, how bad are we talking? How does this compare to, say, previous years?
It's important to remember we actually had a surplus in 2022.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The current administration definitely hasn't let us forget it. And while this projected 2024 deficit, yes, it is a shift, it's still within what's considered acceptable internationally.
Okay, so no need to hit the panic button just yet.
Not yet, no.
But it does make you wonder, with these global uncertainties and our own economic fluctuations, have there been any talks of, seeking assistance, like from the IMF?
That's a million-dollar question, isn't it? Especially since a few of our Caribbean neighbors have gone that route.
Right, exactly.
But so far, Trinidad and Tobago has been pretty firm. No IMF bailouts.
That's a bold stance. Is there a particular reason why they're so adamant about avoiding that path?
It really comes down to control and autonomy.
Yeah.
Those IMF programs often come with a lot of strings attached, austerity measures, potential tax hikes, things that could impact citizens directly.
So the government is choosing to navigate these choppy financial waters on their own terms. But if they're steering clear of external help, what are they doing to, strengthen our institutions from within?
Well, one major development is the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, the TTRA.
Oh, the TTRA, right. I remember hearing about that.
There was that whole legal battle, but its constitutionality was upheld, which was a big win for the government.
Big win, but what does it mean for the average person?
Well, the TTRA, their whole thing is modernizing revenue collection.
Now, whenever I hear revenue collection, I immediately think taxes.
It's the magic word, isn't it?
And not always in a good way. There are rumors the TTRA might start targeting small vendors, everyday folks. Is there any truth to that?
It's understandable why people would be worried, for sure. But the way it's being presented is that the TTRA, their focus is on tax evaders, not the average person just trying to make a living.
So less about punishing the little guy, more about making sure everyone is contributing their fair share.
Exactly. Leveling the playing field.
Okay, so it's all about fairness, but how do they define fair share? Because that can be pretty subjective, can it?
It can, but the government points to a number of tax breaks and exemptions they've already implemented to benefit taxpayers.
Oh, I love concrete examples. Hit me with some highlights.
Well, back in 2016, they increased the personal income tax allowance.
Right.
And over the past 9 years, that's meant an extra $625 per month, or $7,500 per year in disposable income for over 500,000 taxpayers.
Wow, that's not insignificant. That's real money back in people's pockets. Okay, what else?
Remember the big push for hybrid and electric cars?
Yeah, trying to go green?
Well, now, hybrid cars, smaller engine ones at least, are completely exempt from taxes. And for all electric, no matter the size, same deal, no taxes.
That's a pretty sweet deal, especially with gas prices being what they are.
Right. And then there's those everyday essentials, computers, software, phones. Those are all tax-free now.
Okay, so we're talking things that impact people's daily lives.
Exactly. And to help with those ever-increasing housing costs, the government also increased the tax deduction for first-time homeowners on their mortgage interest.
So a little help for those trying to get on the property ladder. It's interesting how this cashless society idea keeps popping up more and more. Everywhere I turn, people are tapping, swiping. Hardly anyone uses cash anymore.
It's definitely a global trend, and it's one that's gaining traction here too.
I mean, we've even got a whole ministry of digital transformation now. That's pretty forward thinking. But I have to admit, while I see the appeal, this whole cashless thing makes me a bit uneasy.
It's a big change for sure.
What about those who rely on cash or have concerns about privacy and security in a digital world? Those are legitimate worries, right?
Absolutely. It's a balancing act for sure.
But Liv, put a pin in that for now. We'll come back to it. For now, let's talk about where we're actually putting our money, what sectors are getting the attention, and how it'll shape our future.
Now we're talking. Let's unpack it all. All right, so picking up where we left off, let's talk manufacturing.
Yeah, let's dive into that. It's one of those sectors that, we've always talked about, but I don't know, it feels like it's been kind of overshadowed by the energy industry for a while.
Overshadowed, sure, but Trinidad and Tobago, we already have a decent foundation in manufacturing.
True, true. It's just about, I guess, bringing it back into the spotlight, right? Making it a real contender on the global stage. So how does this budget aim to do that?
Well, it's a multi-pronged approach for sure.
I like the sound of that.
One of the key things is creating an environment where manufacturers, they can thrive.
Makes sense. Got to create that fertile ground.
Exactly. And that means things like strategic trade agreements, making sure we're competitive on a global scale.
Right. Opening up new markets. I remember you mentioning something about a trade agreement with Chile.
That's right, the partial scope trade agreement with Chile. It was recently concluded.
Okay, so tell me more about that. I mean, Chile, that seems kind of random, doesn't it?
It might seem random, but it's actually a pretty strategic move. Think about it, Chile. That's a market of over 19 million consumers.
Ah, so it's all about tapping into new customer bases.
Exactly. Plus, it allows us to source certain raw materials, and we get them at more competitive prices. So it's a win-win, really.
Makes our products more competitive globally. I get it.
Precisely. And we're not stopping there. The government, they're really stepping up their game when it comes to attracting foreign investment.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Strengthening ties with key partners,
Yeah.
Like the U.S.
Always good to have the U.S. in your corner.
And they're also working on streamlining the whole process of doing business here.
Ah, that's huge.
Because bureaucracy, let's be honest, it can be a real buzzkill for investors.
Tell me about it. Red tape, delays. It's a nightmare.
Absolutely. So streamlining things, that's a big step in the right direction.
Now, you mentioned special economic zones earlier. Can you refresh my memory on those? What are they all about?
Basically, think of special economic zones like VIP zones for businesses.
Okay, I like the sound of that already.
They get tax breaks, fewer regulations, whole bunch of incentives to, sweeten the deal.
So it's all about making Trinidad and Tobago really attractive to investors, giving them a reason to choose us over, say, other countries.
Exactly. We've already designated a few areas as special economic zones, like the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate.
And are they actually attracting any attention?
Oh yeah, they're already generating quite a bit of buzz.
That's great to hear.
But it's not just about attracting new businesses. The government is also putting a lot of emphasis on supporting those who are already here, those small and medium-sized enterprises, the SMEs.
Right, because those are the backbone of our economy. Right?
Exactly. And there are programs to help them upgrade their tech, improve efficiency, all those things that can give them a competitive edge.
So it's like they say, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly. Now, speaking of lifting things, let's switch gears for a bit and talk about tourism.
Ooh, tourism. Always a hot topic. We've got so much potential there.
We really do. I mean, stunning beaches, lush rainforests, vibrant culture. Who wouldn't want to experience that?
Don't forget the food. You can't beat Trinbonian food.
Oh, absolutely. And carnival. Now, There's an experience you don't get anywhere else.
It's true, we've got a lot to offer.
And that's what this budget aims to showcase, highlighting what makes Trinidad and Tobago unique, setting us apart from all those other vacation destinations.
It's not just about sun and sand, it's about the whole experience.
Exactly. We're talking about ramping up marketing efforts, targeting specific markets like the US, Canada, Europe. And it's not just about getting people here, it's about making sure they have an incredible time while they're here.
Word of mouth is everything.
Yeah.
Happy tourists, they tell their friends, and then boom, you've got a whole new wave of visitors.
Precisely. That's why we're also investing in the things that enhance the visitor experience, like infrastructure.
Right, because nobody wants to come to Paradise and deal with crumbling roads or, subpar accommodations.
Exactly. So we've already talked about the new Tobago Airport Terminal, which is a big deal, but there's also focus on upgrading hotels, improving transportation links, just creating a seamless, enjoyable experience from the moment someone steps off the plane.
It's about thinking holistically, the entire visitor journey.
Precisely. And let's not forget about all those cultural industries that thrive here. Music, art, festivals, they all play a role.
They add to the richness, the vibrancy, right?
Right.
And not just for tourists, but for everyone who calls Trinidad and Tobago home.
Exactly. It's a win-win. A thriving cultural scene that attracts visitors, but also benefits our own people, creates jobs, supports local artists.
It's about fostering that creative energy that's always been a part of who we are.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But, while we're busy building towards this brighter future, we can't forget about the folks who need a little extra help in the here and now. And that brings us to social services.
Yes, such an important topic. What's the point of all this economic growth, all these shiny new projects, if it doesn't translate into a better quality of life for everyone, right?
Exactly. It's about making sure everyone benefits.
So how does this budget address that? What are some of the key areas when it comes to social services?
Well, healthcare is always a top priority, and this budget reflects that.
Okay, good, because healthcare, that's fundamental.
Absolutely. We're talking about investments in new hospitals, upgrades to existing facilities, state-of-the-art equipment.
So it's about modernizing our healthcare system, making sure it's equipped to deal with the challenges of today and tomorrow.
Exactly. And it's not just about fancy new buildings and gadgets. It's about expanding access, making sure everyone, no matter where they live or their income level, can get the care they need.
That's so important. But healthcare is just one piece of the puzzle, right? What about housing? That's a major issue for a lot of people.
You're right. Housing affordability, it's a real challenge. This budget, it tackles it from a few different angles.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, there's funding allocated to build new affordable housing units, which is huge.
That's a start, because we need more options, especially in urban areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're also providing financial assistance to those who are trying to get on the property ladder for the first time, those first-time home buyers.
So it's about making homeownership more achievable, which is great. But what about those who are already struggling to make ends meet? Those who are just trying to keep a roof over their heads.
This budget, it recognizes that need, too. There's funding for infrastructure improvements, things like water, sanitation, electricity.
Because those things, they're not just amenities, they're essential for a decent standard of living.
Precisely. But it's not just about bricks and mortar. It's about creating communities where people feel safe, supported, connected.
A house is a building, but a home is so much more.
Well said. And speaking of building something special, let's talk about education.
Yes, education, the foundation of it all.
Couldn't agree more. And this budget, it goes beyond just building new schools, although there is some of that. It's about investing in our teachers, giving them the support and resources they need to excel.
Because they are the backbone of the education system.
Exactly. It's also about embracing new technologies in the classroom.
Okay, so bringing education into the 21st century.
Precisely. We need to prepare our students for a world that's changing faster than ever before. We're not just talking about rote memorization anymore. It's about critical thinking, problem solving, creativity.
Those are the skills that are in high demand.
Exactly. We need to cultivate an adaptable, innovative workforce. And that's why we're also seeing an expansion of vocational training, technical skills programs, anything that equips people with the skills they need to succeed.
Because the jobs of tomorrow, they might not even exist today. We need to be prepared to adapt, to evolve.
Couldn't agree more. And this budget, it recognizes that. It's about creating an education system that empowers all citizens, regardless of their background or aspirations.
I like it. So we've covered Infrastructure, energy, manufacturing, tourism, social services. I'm exhausted just thinking about it all. But something tells me we've only scratched the surface. What else is in store for us in this budget?
Oh, there's always more.
You're
Uh,
kidding. I'm already
But
overwhelmed.
in a good way, right? Because all of this, it's about building a better future.
All right, you've convinced me. Bring on the hidden gems. All right, so hidden gems of the budget, lay it on me.
Okay, well, let's talk about skills training.
Skills training.
Okay. Yeah, equipping people with the tools they need to actually succeed in this job market.
Right, because the job market, it's a whole different ballgame now, isn't it?
Completely. And this budget, it gets it. It recognizes that we need to be, training for the future, not the past.
So are we stuck in the past or are we looking ahead? What kind of skills are we talking about here?
Oh, this is way beyond like your grandfather's vocational training.
Okay, good, because I was about to say.
We're talking cybersecurity, digital marketing, renewable energy technologies, the cutting edge stuff.
Now, those are skills for the future. Are there any specific programs that really stand out?
Well, there's this one, the Hoist program. They're training people to operate mobile cranes, forklifts, that sort of thing. Those are skills that are in high demand, like across the board. And it's a direct pathway to, good paying jobs.
Right, those essential trades, they're not going anywhere.
Exactly. They're the backbone of any economy.
Okay, so we're creating a skilled workforce. What else? What other hidden gems are we looking at?
Well, this budget also recognizes that, small businesses, they're really the engine of growth.
Right, when small businesses thrive, everyone benefits.
Exactly. And so this budget, it provides a lot of resources and support to help these businesses, to actually succeed. It's not just about wishing them luck.
Yeah, it takes more than luck these days. So what kind of support are we talking about specifically?
We're talking access to financing, business development training, mentorship programs, all those things that can really make a difference.
Okay, so it's like a support system for those who are taking the leap and, trying to build something of their own.
Exactly. There's this one program, it's run by NEDCO, the National Entrepreneurship Development Company, and it's called the Business Acceleration Program.
Okay, I like the sound of that. Tell me more.
So it's specifically designed to help entrepreneurs, take their businesses to that next level.
So from, like kitchen table to global domination.
Exactly. Well, maybe not global domination just yet, but definitely moving in the right direction.
Dream big, right?
Absolutely. And there's also a lot of support for innovation, particularly in the tech sector. Grants, incubators, accelerators, all these things to foster that startup culture.
Because that's the future, right? Tech, innovation, all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, while we're busy looking ahead, we can't forget about those who might be struggling in the present.
Right. It can't just be about, the next big thing. We have to take care of our own.
Exactly. And this budget, it recognizes that.
Yeah.
There's a real emphasis on providing a safety net for those who need it most.
Like a strong foundation so nobody gets left behind. So what does that look like in practice? What kind of programs are we talking about?
Well, for starters, there's the Senior Citizens Pension. It's a lifeline for so many elderly folks. It allows them to, live with dignity and security.
Like peace of mind, right? Knowing that you're taken care of.
Exactly. And then there's the Public Assistance Grant. That one provides essential financial support to those who can't work, maybe due to a disability or illness.
So those programs, they provide that crucial safety net, that sense of security when people need it most. But it's not just about providing temporary relief, is it?
No, absolutely not. It's about empowerment, helping people to get back on their feet to build a better future for themselves.
Okay, so what does that look like? How do we empower people?
Well, job training is a big part of it, of course, giving people the skills they need to find meaningful employment.
Right, because a job, it's not just about a paycheck. It's about dignity, purpose.
Absolutely. And there are programs that provide entrepreneurship support, help people start their own businesses.
No, that's empowering, giving people the tools to create something of their own.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the kids. This budget, it really emphasizes breaking the cycle of poverty, especially for children.
Right, because they are the future.
Exactly. Early childhood education, nutritious meal programs, making sure that everyone has access to opportunities no matter their background. These are all investments in our collective future.
Because when children thrive, we all thrive. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, haven't we?
We have. From the big picture stuff to those smaller details, it's been quite a journey.
It has. But it's been an important one. This budget, it's not just about numbers on a page, it's about people's lives.
It's about acknowledging the challenges that we face, but also embracing the opportunities that lie ahead.
And that is a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. We hope you found it informative, engaging, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. We encourage you to keep asking questions, stay curious, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.